Miller Lite is the original, the founding father of light beer. Here's Bobby's Rent, brought to you by Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
All right, welcome into the point after. Saints win 27-20. Bobby Hebert, Christian Garrick here. And Bobby, look, you just wanted one win. It was a pretty good one against an ailing Rams team that is clearly not awake from their Super Bowl hangover just yet.
But the Rams are sorry. I don't know. Looking at the Rams, it wasn't that long ago they just won the Super Bowl. Boy, it just shows you the depth. When you have, I guess, but there was household names you saw out there, but not all. Like Jalen Ramsey. I think Jalen Ramsey could be, and at one time was the best corner, but he gets exploited like Honey Badger. You get old in football and they pick on you. And I think Jalen Ramsey still has all 11 in the tank, but we weren't afraid to go at him. The Rams weren't afraid to go after Chris Harris or Tyrann Mathieu. They're getting picked on. That's going to continue, for the games to come. We go to San Fran. That's going to come about. No one would guess this because don't we think overall, I guess we're not opportunistic at times. Wouldn't you, trivia question, okay, since week 3, who's had the most sacks in the NFL? Nobody would guess the New Orleans Saints. Since week 3, the Saints have the most sacks in the NFL. And it seems like we got to get after the other quarterback. But now, it might have been meaningless. The timing of the sack, I think, matters. Since week 3, right now, we have the most sacks in the league. Now, for the season, we had 32. If you always say, boy, if you can, you play 17 games, if you can average 3 sacks a game, then you're putting pressure on the opposing quarterback. How about, you talk about guys stepping up and taking advantage of your opportunity. How about Caden Ellis? I'm not saying he's Pete Werner, but Caden Ellis, if we would run a traditional 4-3, we do that 4-2 with the nickel guy. So, Caden Ellis might get some starts, but we don't do the traditional old school 4-down lineman, 3 linebackers. But he's listed as a starter, a strong side linebacker. Anyway, he takes the place of Pete Werner. But anytime you get double-digit sacks, which he led the team in unassisted tackles with 5. He had a sack and a half. You could have gave him 2. They gave, I want to say, Passanio or Granison, one of them.
Passanio.
Yeah, part of the half a sack. He had 2 quarterback hurries, a tackle for loss, and pass defending. And again, like he's done before he was starting, he gets a tackle on special teams. Mm-hmm. So, Christian, he's come to play. I can see Demario Davis even encourage and playing alongside him. Demario Davis, I mean, he might have from the stunts we're running. Christian, I tell you what, he might have a chance to get double-digit sacks. I think I want to say he's at 6.5.
He got a half sack today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's at 6.5. I don't think 7. I think it's more like 6.5, so around there. He might have a chance when all's said and done to get double-digit sacks. Now, ultimately, you'd want to get 20 first downs. We had 19. Again, third down offense. You got to be, instead of 36%, we need to be like 46%. We were 4 of 11, but outstanding third down defense. They were 5 of 14. I should say that's very good because that's mid-30s. You want to be low 30s or high 20s in that regard, third down defense. Really, if you'd have told me this, I'd say, well, they kind of controlling the game. We averaged 3.7 yards a carry. They averaged 5 yards a carry. We had 24 attempts. They had 30. But it wasn't a game where we only ran the ball 15 times. We need to sniff like that 30 rushing attempts, whatever's happening. So we were at 24. I mean, Andy Dalton was outstanding. I don't know, long throws, accurate throws, whatever. Andy Dalton was 21 of 25. Quarterback rating of basically 150. 3 touchdowns, no picks. And I think the combination of Andy Dalton and Taysom Hill, I think that works. I mean, you look at Taysom Hill total. Christian and I've said this on previous shows. He needs to have about 75 yards like of offense. Whether he's running the ball, whether he's catching it, or whether he's throwing it. Like he completed 1 pass for 14 yards. So, to try and keep the defense on balance, he had 74. Mm-hmm. So I said, now Alvin had 89. I want him about 125 to 130, but Kamara ended up having 89 total yards from scrimmage. Now, who would have thought right now, we're in training camp, and we passed the halfway point and you'd say it's a tie. You might guess one of these guys. Say, okay, who's leading? And this is August, Christian. You look in your crystal ball. Who's leading the Saints in touchdowns right now?
It wouldn't have been the guy that actually is, because the guy that is, I had them cutting.
Oh!
In my initial 53-man roster projection.
Yeah, so for sure he would have been in that number. But I think he's taking advantage of his opportunity way more than Adam Troutman, Juwan Johnson.
His 1 million TikTok followers.
Juwan Johnson and
5 million.
Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill both have 5 touchdowns this season. No, you might have guessed. No, we don't know what's going to happen with Michael Thomas or Jarvis Landry finally scored a touchdown.
I'm trying to go get him in fantasy.
Good for him.
I'm trying to get Juwan Johnson in fantasy.
So Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill leading the team each with 5 touchdowns. In the series, we've not really had the Rams number, even in the NFC West. Christian, I remember even when I was playing back late night, we always played better in Los Angeles than necessarily in the Dome. Now we've won games in the Dome against the Rams.
The picture of you on the cover of Sports Illustrated was against the Rams in L.A.
In L.A., yeah. So the whole thing, in NOLA now that we won, we're 15 and 16 overall. So it's 50-50. And we got a ways to go in the series. We're behind 42 to 32 overall. But what have you done for our league? Where are we at? A big win for the Saints. Now, this to me, and I told dudes, can't we please be like +1? Turnover margin, I'd be dead last. Well, we're still -12, but we're not -13. We still better to be even or on that plus side. And I said that area, and Dude said, well, let us just be even. Well, that's what occurred. And I said, okay, how about we win? How the official's going to call the game, the penalties. Because when you look at what has occurred, and that, did we ever? I can't remember a game we only had 2 penalties. I mean, it seems like
even under Peyton, that was rare.
And we only had 1, I think, going into the fourth quarter or something. So we ended up with 2 penalties, and the Rams had 6. The reason why I say that, because I was like, well, boy, how are they going to call this game? Coming into the game was almost 2-1. We had 72 penalties. The Rams only 37, which led the NFL. Now, look, that was coming into the game. The Rams, the least penalized team, well, they had 6 penalties. Now, those only 55 yards, not near 100 yards, but I just thought that was the difference. We didn't necessarily shoot ourselves in the foot when you look at the penalties. I think
that's why Ron Torber, the official, the white hat, and his crew is going to get one of my game balls, because they only threw 8 flags.
Oh, I love those kind of games. Just let the boys play. Positive or negative. Instead of throwing, you said 8?
8 total.
Instead of throwing 18.
15.
Yeah, 15, 18, throw 8. So I think that was outstanding. Now, I thought also that another outstanding game, he seems like, and Jeff asked him this, WWL, about, why is he asking that? No, Blake Gillikin. I think Blake Gillikin right now is in a groove as a pro. You can almost, his directional punting and how far he's punting is about as good as it gets as of late. He averaged like 48 yards a punt. He had a long of 55 and 3 inside the 20. I thought Rashid Shaheed, he had a long punt return of 17, averaged 10 yards. We need to average double digits. And it was kind of a mixed bag. Not that we won special teams, but it wasn't so much, I think, a liability as far as when you're talking about, the field position. Now, this is one thing that I think is going to continue, because like game plan, we're going to go play against the 49ers, and you look up matchups. And that's why I still think Chris Harris and Tyrann Mathieu, they have to realize that maybe back in the day, teams didn't pick on you. They'd go away from you. But right now, the older players.
You're a target.
Yeah, a target. I thought Alontae Taylor bounced back this game compared to the poor game he had against the Steelers. So I thought it was the overall team effort. I had thought, I said take the Rams and the points. I thought the Saints would win, but more like 24-23. But we won 27-20. And really, the Saints were in control of that game, going forward when we finally got the lead and all that.
Bobby, in the second half, granted, Matt Stafford was injured with a concussion. The Saints had 205 total yards of offense. The Rams had 95.
Yeah, no, we set the tone. We got better as the game wore on. Christian, it's amazing. I'm looking at this now, and here we doing, the rant and all that. We ready to talk about what happened to the Saints? Oh, the Saints won. What's a bunch of BS?
We got two.
If the Saints would have lost, you couldn't even put enough callers on this screen. Why do people live in negativity? They look at the glass half empty, not half full.
Bobby, I think some of this.
We got a couple of calls, but
let's.
They want to.
They didn't beat the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? They just beat the Rams. Now, listen, I think we already.
Well, don't you want to put your 2 cents?
Sure, but hear me out. My point is this: I think Saints fans smartly are going. We saw this a couple weeks ago when they shut out the Raiders, and then we saw what happened after that. Look, this has been a roller coaster season for the Saints.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So can you win maybe 2-3 games in a row? Now, they should be way more impressed if we beat the 49ers on the road.
Sure.
So
I
that
think
would be
see a lot more energy if they were to beat the Niners next week.
Even if the Saints were 7-3, even if the Saints were 7-3 going into this game, and let's say even back in August, I didn't have us winning at San Francisco. When you look the Saints could get the 10 wins.
You also probably didn't think they were going to beat the Rams because the Rams were the defending champs. You didn't see this precipitous fall off from Los Angeles.
No, I thought it was flip a coin because it was in New Orleans. But I thought at San Fran that'd be a much tougher game to win. Yeah.
All right, this is the point after here. Saints win 27-20. Bobby Hebert, Christian Garrick. This is the Community Coffee New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Remember the slogan? There's a